I fell off a cliff and lost all my memories. It was Yi Jinyu, a wealthy merchant, who found me at the bottom of the valley. He took me in without a single question about my past, spoiled me with every comfort, loved me without reservation, and eventually married me and brought me home. For 3 years, I lived in the warmth of his carefully woven tenderness, never doubting the sincerity of his affection. After my 5th miscarriage, I held a faint, precious joy in my heart. I was pregnant again. I planned to walk to his study, hold his hand softly, and tell him this good news, the hope that could redeem all our painful losses. But the moment I lifted my foot, strange pale words drifted across my line of sight, floating in the empty air, like ghostly whispers. Here we go. The female lead is about to find out all her miscarriages were planned by the male lead. HES nothing but a ruthless tyrant who seized her by force. She had a lawful husband before she lost her memory. The classic cat minus and minus mouse chase is starting soon, my favorite plotline. The worst part, Yi Jinyu only arranged her fake death and cliff fall because Suru or Yuo, her younger sister, was madly in love with her original husband. The amnesia was just an unexpected accident. Cold dread coiled tight around my heart. Oh, what were these floating words? Who is Suru Yuo? Fragmented, blurry memories swirled chickily in my mind. Yet no matter how hard I strained to recall, everything remained blank and hollow. The unease gnawed at my bones, but I forced myself to calm down. With a heavy heart, I walked quietly towards Yi Jinhua's study, intending to confirm the truth with my own ears. The door was slightly ajar, and lo, cold conversation slipped through the crack, piercing straight into my eardrums. Young master, we slipped safflower into her tonic again, just like the previous 5 times. But the imperial physician warned that her body is already severely weakened from repeated miscarriages. If she loses this child too, she will never conceive again for the rest of her life. The guard's voice trembled with undisguised hesitation. Yi Jinhua's voice came next, cold and unyielding, without a shred of human warmth. Carry on as ordered. Now that Ruo Yuo has married into the Lin family and is with child, and Lin Xiaoyan has fully accepted her, we cannot afford the slightest mistake. As for Su Xiao, he paused, his tone turning utterly ruthless. It does not matter if she has no children. I can keep her by my side and support her for a lifetime. And remember, never call me young master in this residence again. My mind buzzed into complete silence, and I nearly collapsed on the spot. 3 years ago, I had tumbled off the cliff, unconscious and adrift. Jinyu had appeared like a god descending from the sky to save me. He had held me tightly in his arms all the way down the rugged mountain path, risking falls and injuries just to shield me from harm. To cure my amnesia, he had spared no expense, traveling far and wide to seek famous physicians, pouring endless gold and effort into my recovery. Without a single memory of my own, I'd been utterly moved by his devotion, and finally nodded and agreed to marry him. Over these 3 years, I had conceived 5 times, only to lose each child one after another. I had always blamed myself, convinced the repeated miscarriages were the after effects of my severe cliff injuries and frail health. I had never complained, never resented him, only hated my own uselessness for failing to give him an heir to carry on his line. Yet I had never imagined that all his tender vows, all his gentle care, were nothing but elaborate lies. Every child I had lost was killed by his own cold, decisive hands. He had not even used contraceptive herbs, choosing instead to let me conceive again and again. Rising and falling in futile joy, draining my vitality little by little with each miscarriage, just to keep me unsuspecting and trapped by his side. I stumbled back to my chambers in a daze, my soul hollow and my mind in utter chaos. My trembling hand slipped, and the teacup on the table crashed to the ground, shattering into pieces. Before I could steady myself, Yi Jinyu rushed into the room in an instant. He stepped directly on the sharp porcelain shards without flinching, as if he felt no pain at all, then swept me into his arms in one swift move. his voice laced with feigned reproach and tender concern. Why did you get out of bed alone? Your morning sickness has been plaguing you. You only need to order the servants to fetch anything you want. If they fail to serve you well, I will take care of everything myself. He laid me gently on the bed, handling me as carefully as a fragile, priceless porcelain vase. I stared at him fixedly, my heart icy cold. The noble young master of a prestigious mansion had lowered his status to pretend to be an ordinary wealthy merchant just to win my trust. He knelt before me, personally took off my shoes and socks, checked my feet carefully for any cuts, then covered me with a thick warm quilt. Turning to the maid beside him, he ordered softly, "Bring Madame's miscarriage prevention tonic at once." My body stiffened with revulsion. I had told him countless times how dearly I longed for children, how I dreamed of raising little ones who looked like both of us. He had always smiled and echoed my wishes, chatting warmly about our future children, saying he would spoil them endlessly if they had my eyes and my smile. Yet behind that gentle mask, he had never once planned to have a child with me. He could speak such sweet lies without the slightest guilt. "Xiao Xiao, let me feed you." His soft voice pulled me back from my bitter thoughts. He blew on the spoon gently to cool the medicinal soup, then held it steadily to my lips. My fingers unconsciously brushed my still flat abdomen, and sharp pains surged through my heart. Before every previous miscarriage, he had been extra doting, preparing rich, nourishing soups and feeding me medicine just like this. I had once thought it was the height of love, but now I knew it was nothing but the hypocrisy of an executioner before striking the fatal blow. "Husband," I forced a pale smile, my voice trembling uncontrollably. "The medicine is too bitter. Can I skip it just for today?" "Don't be willful, Xiao Xiao." Zi Jinyu frowned slightly, his tone soft with indulgence yet firm and unyielding. "This tonic is specially blended by a top physician. I spared no effort to find. It is excellent for your health. You stayed up late these past few nights sewing tiny clothes and swaddle less for our baby. We've lost 5 children already. We must protect this one at all costs. Be good. Drink it for the sake of our unborn child." He coaxed me gently yet pressed the spoon firmly to my lips, leaving me no room to refuse. The bitter medicinal liquid slid down my throat, cold and harsh, seeping straight into the bottom of my heart. I pushed his hand away after swallowing the first spoonful, took the bowl from his grasp, and drank every last drop in one gulp. That night, I fell into a long vivid dream. In the dream, I was Su Xiao, the legitimate daughter of a 9th- rank court official. I had married Lin Zhourai, my childhood sweetheart, and we had lived a harmonious, loving life, bound by years of deep affection. My younger half sister Suru or Yuo was only a year younger than me. Unlike her scheming, vicious mother Aunt Liu, she had always seemed innocent and sweet, following behind me and calling me elder sister in a soft, clingy voice. One day, she rescued a severely injured man who called himself Jinyu. After recovering from his wounds, he left without a single word of farewell. Soon after, Suru or Yuo fell seriously ill. I was trapped fasting and praying at the goddess of fertility temple, begging for a child, so I could not leave to tend to her. I asked my husband Len Zian to deliver medicine to her instead. After a few visits he refused, saying it was improper for a married man to tend alone to his sister in law to avoid malicious gossip. Back then, I had laughed and called him overly rigid, never suspecting a thing. On the day I returned from the temple, I climbed the mountain to pray as usual. In the blink of an eye, all my maids vanished without a trace. Before I could panic, a powerful force shoved me hard from behind, and I plummeted off the cliff. As I fell through the air, I twisted my head with all my strength and saw the face of my attacker clearly. It was Jinyu, the man Suru or Yuo had saved, the man who had disappeared mysteriously. It was Jinyu, the man who now shared my bed every night. I screamed aloud and jolted awake. All the maids and matrons in the room were kneeling on the ground, their faces pale with fear. A sharp, stabbing pain came from my lower abdomen, and the thick smell of blood filled the air. Several imperial physicians stood by the corner. their expressions grave and anxious. When I opened my eyes, the head nurse cried out in relief, "Madam is awake." Si Jinyu, who had stood frozen aside, stumbled frantically to the bedside, his eyes bloodshot and his face haggard with exhaustion. "Xiao Xiao, you're awake." His voice shook with genuine minus sounding fear and relief. "You've been unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. I thought I would lose you forever." He choked up, pressing my hand tightly to his cheek. "Wake up and it's all that matters." Disgusting. What an Oscar-worthy performance. HES the one who hurt her in the first place. Fake hypocrite. Make him pay dearly in the chase scene later. I moved my fingers weakly, feeling the cold detachment settle in my chest. His palm was hot, rough from years of practice. The warmth I had once cherished more than anything. Now his touch made me sick to my stomach. I pulled my hand away sharply without a shred of hesitation. Si Jinyu froze for a second, quickly masking his surprise with concern and ordering the physicians to examine me at once. After a thorough pulse check, the doctors conferred in low whispers, then spoke with heavy gravity. "Madam has lost a great deal of blood. Though we have stopped the hemorrhage, her womb is severely damaged. She will never be able to conceive a child again in her life." This was the exact outcome he had planned, yet he acted as if he had heard devastating news. His face turned ashen, his eyes filled with shock and heartbreak. "Use every precious medicinal herb, spend every coin necessary. I command you to cure her at all costs." After the physicians retreated nervously, he pulled me gently into his arms, his voice thick with feigned devotion. "Don't be afraid, Xiao Xiao. Even without children, my love for you will never fade. I will take care of you for the rest of your life." If I had not known the truth, I would have fallen for his lies again. For the next 2 months, the pampered noble young master personally cleaned my blood-stained clothes and bedding. He held me tightly every night to keep me warm as I recovered from the miscarriage. Late one night, as he slept soundly, he whispered in a daze, "Ruo, don't be afraid. I will give you everything you want." In that instant, all the false affection shattered completely. Every sweet word, every gentle gesture, every promise of forever was nothing but a cold, calculated scheme. 2 months passed slowly. My body recovered well, but I lied and told everyone I suffered from severe insomnia and nightmares from my amnesia. I asked for calming herbal soup every night, and no one suspected a thing. I never drank the soup. Instead, I quietly poured most of it away, saving only the mild sleeping ingredients, letting them build up slowly in his body day by day. On the night I planned to escape, I dressed carefully in a plain white gauze dress that still showed my slender figure. When Si Jinyu walked into the room, his eyes lit up with undisguised admiration. "Xiao Xiao, you are more beautiful than ever tonight." He stepped forward quickly, pulled me into his arms, and bent down to kiss me. I suppressed the nausea churning in my stomach and turned my head away slightly. He thought I was merely shy, laughing lowly as his breath grew hot against my neck, his hands beginning to tug at my clothes recklessly. 2 months have passed, Xiao Xiao. You have no idea how hard I have restrained myself all this time. I leaned into him slightly, my voice soft and gentle with feigned tenderness. "Husband, you haven't had dinner yet. I personally had the kitchen cook nourishing soup for you. Drink it first, okay? You've taken such good care of me these days, and I worry about your health." He lifted my chin, his eyes clouded with lust and fondness. "Such a thoughtful little wife. But you have to feed me this soup. After I drink it, you have to reward me properly tonight." I watched him drink the spiked soup in one gulp, my heart finally settling. He lifted me onto the bed impatiently, ready to press down on me, before his body suddenly went limp. His eyes closed, and he slumped into unconsciousness. It worked. I quickly took the mansion access token from his waist, then quietly opened the window. I stepped carefully to leave messy footprints on the windowsill and the muddy ground outside, making it look like I had escaped through the window. After finishing every detail, I hid quietly under the bed.